So, how do we follow that? And we follow it with a very, very special guest, someone with one of the most incredible stories, and I'm delighted to say that she's going to share it with us today. We're going to talk about the story of human achievement. In just a few weeks, the Paris Olympics and the Paralympic Games will get underway, showcasing the best of the world's athletes. And, of course, para-athletes as they battle for medals. But what does it really take to be a champion? And to find out, I'm delighted to welcome India's first ever Paralympic medalist to discuss her hopes for the Olympics and Paralympics for India's athletes, and also how to smash the glass ceiling and realize your ambitions. Delighted to see you. Please welcome Dr. Deepa Malik.
Hello.
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 Lovely to see you.
Yes, nice to
Yes. What a wonderful way for us to end this first day of IGF. And you'll forgive me, I've been doing a lot of reading of your story, and it is absolutely wonderful. And forgive me, I'm going to embarrass you slightly because I want to read some of your achievements now. Amazing achievements and recognitions. India's first ever female Paralympic medalist across any sport. One of the 10 most inspirational para-athlete women of the world by the International Paralympic Committee. Ranked as one of the top 10 Asian women leaders. 23 international medals, 68 national and state level medals in swimming, javelin, shot put, discus. The only Indian woman ever to win a medal at 3 successive Asian Games. Under your leadership, Team India recorded the highest ever tally of 111 medals at the Asia Paralympic Games last year, Para Games last year. And that's before we even talk about any of your work away from sport. So congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
And if you will, take us back to the beginning and your love, falling in love with sports in the way that you did. When did you first discover your passion for athletics?
Well, then I'll have to take you back to my childhood. Because for the first time when parents discovered that there was mild weakness setting in the lower limbs, and then of course, long ordeal of hospital checkups, admissions, till the time doctor found that there was a cyst sitting in the spinal column and the surgery. And the real love for sports began in the rehabilitation. Because I was a very small child, and the rehabilitation post 2 to 3 years of paralysis was not an easy journey. To make it interesting, they would invent kind of sports or games or try to get me outdoors again to play. Yep. And I think that's where a bit of a rebel also set in. Because time and again as a child I had heard and had seen my mother weep in the corner of the room when people said, you know, why are you wasting this kind of time on a girl child who's crippled? It's better to let her go because it's going to be a lifelong liability. So I always wanted to prove the naysayers wrong by doing extraordinary activities, which even led me to, you know, out of the box things like riding bikes when I was young, to join the first ever cricket team of the Rajasthan state where I was studying. And of course, my love for bikes got me married, and to take the life forward, I was happy being an army wife because army offers you a lot of opportunities to play, to enjoy the outdoors, you travel. But when my elder daughter, barely 14 months old, met with an accident, and due to the head injury, the left of her body got paralyzed into hemiplegia. I think the whole ordeal came back. It was almost like a deja vu. Why me, why again was the question. But then I knew the answer, that a right rehabilitation, which actually means exercising, getting outdoors, getting involved in physical activity. That's where I started encouraging my daughter, Devika, to that journey, only to have my tumors come back at the age of 29, when doctors told me that I only have 7 days to celebrate walking. That is if I'll be left alive due to these repetitive tumors. A time when my husband was at the Kargil war and I was still struggling with my elder daughter's illness, I had to undergo these life-threatening spinal surgeries. This time, to scoop out the tumor, they had to go through the spinal cord, which for past 25 years has left me chest below totally paralyzed. My bladder and bowel is challenged, only half my lungs inflate. I don't have torso balance, I don't have sensation below the chest level. More than 200 stitches between the shoulder blades and repetitive tumor treatments. But I again found my source of happiness in outdoor activities and sports being one. And that became my medium to prove my abilities beyond disabilities, and not just mine, even my elder daughters. So we are the only mother-daughter duo in the entire world who have participated in para sports, won medals internationally for the country, and proved our abilities. So I guess, thank you. So even when I wanted to do certain activities which would change the mindsets, because when I was young, I heard the same reaction towards disability. 2 decades later, when I became a mother of a girl child, I heard the same reactions from the society. And another 5 years later, when I got paralyzed, 2.5 decades, nothing had changed. So it was time to change the mindsets, and I took on this journey of outdoor activities. I wanted to add not only sports, fashion, fun, picnics, travel, enjoyment, social integration, dancing, anything, biking. I wanted to reclaim my life by doing the biking all over again.
I will come on to all of those other elements too, because they're such a fundamental part of your journey. And forgive me if I say you explain some huge individual setbacks and challenges that you've faced as a matter of course. Each one of those might have floored someone. And I wonder what mindset, because we're talking about business and growth. What is the mindset that helps you power through a setback and a challenge of such a personal, intrinsic nature? How do you deal with that mentally?
I think what I have learned from my life journey is people will look at you the way you look at yourself. And if you are able to celebrate life, because life is the only festival that can be celebrated every day. You don't have to wait for dates to celebrate an occasion. And having seen death up front many a times, I take every day as a blessing. And I think the lessons that I learned through my journey and from my parents is you should always keep value addition goals. And when you say value addition goals, you mean that whatever you are doing should not only make you a better version of yourself, but should also impact people around you, your society, your country, so that every action of yours has a ripple effect and makes the life better for someone else. So that's quite a motivator, and that's something we are also trying to do through my foundation called Wheeling Happiness, which me and my elder daughter we run. And that aims towards making life better, to help people identify their sources of happiness, whatever they would like to do, whether they want to play sports, get educated, they have a hobby to pursue, to make their ecosystem more accessible for them to have better opportunities.
I want to come back to the sporting element of the decision then that your escape would be sport. When you approached the people you were going to participate with, how did you overcome those initial barriers and those initial challenges that once you decided to do that, you had set your mind to it, then unfolds a whole load of practical considerations too. And you said actually in the time between you doing that and having your daughter, nothing had changed. How, and we'll come on to Wheeling Happiness in a moment about how you are trying to change mindsets, but talk to me about the obstacles you faced first of all, and then we'll talk about how you're trying to solve some of them.
Okay, so if we start about the obstacles, definitely we talk about accessibility. So today I'm really fortunate to have Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who has for the first time spoken about, under his governance, we are talking about Accessible India campaign, we are talking about toilets, and toilets not just about, for women, but also persons with disability. These are very basic requirements for a person. But when I set off, I had major hurdles. First, of course, I was already a mother of two, and a very unconventional age at which I started playing. The first time I went out to play, I was 36 as a swimmer, and when I shifted gears from swimming to athletics, I was 40 for the first time when I held the javelin. And even when I was wanting to play, I was definitely, for example, I had to give up swimming, not because I was not a good swimmer, but because I could not get heated swimming pools to be able to exercise round the year. So and also end-to-end accessibility, transportation. And a person like me, when I need to train, I need a customized training program where I need a doctor, I need a physio, I need a nurse for catheterization, I need transportation with end-to-end accessibility, I need an accessible infrastructure, and more than that, I need coaches who can understand my disability and my limitations of the body and enhance the body parts which are, in a workable condition and can be improved. But to begin with, we needed inclusive policies, and we needed a government which was keeping inclusion as its priority. And it wasn't spoken of. The policies were not in place. The corporate social responsibility did not have disability or disability sports as priority. So there were a lot of things. So there were financial challenges, there were infrastructural challenges, there were mindset challenges, there were policy challenges. And it kind of adds on when you're a woman and you're a woman of a certain age, because everybody gets infected by the stereotype, and that needed to change.
And so you faced all of those challenges, I assume they were firsts in so many ways. Where do you even start to go and challenge
the first is interesting. The first lady to win a medal, the first lady to be a biker, the first lady to cross river swimming against the current for a kilometer, first lady to pick up a, fight for the Motor Vehicle Act and take a vehicle and do the highest motorable roads, do Himalayan car rallies and desert storm car rallies. It's very interesting to be first.
Yep.
But every first came with a huge bag of challenges. And a lot of convincing had to be done that a woman in chest below paralysis wants to do these crazy things.
How did you do that convincing?
Hundreds of emails to be written, meeting the bureaucrats, meeting the people in power and position, trying to convince them that this would be my way of declaring abilities beyond disabilities. But in this journey, I'm happy that it wasn't just a personal achievement, but one could influence policy changes. Had an opportunity to become a member of the 5-year Planning Commission as appointed by the HRD division of the Sports Ministry, and also be continuously involved in the policy changes. So that became a huge, so it was a lot of learning for me also. I was just a graduate homemaker, very busy bringing up 2 girls and then getting paralyzed, and then leave everything, leave home and come to the capital city and then go and knock at every door possible. But it happens, look at it. I'm here in an international Indian global prestigious forum speaking to Ben. Things have changed.
And faced with each of those issues, what was the thing that made you keep going? Because each one of those individual things were a challenge in themselves, weren't they? What was the thing that said, you know what, it's another setback, it's another problem, it's another challenge, it's another issue, but I'm going to keep going?
I think 3 things, Ben, majorly. I would be lying if I don't put this one on first, which is motherhood. I was a mother of 2 young girls, and they were burdened by a lot of stereotype. And especially when I had a daughter who herself was struggling with her disability. I had to be that mother, that role model for my two daughters, because I wanted them to be productive citizens of my country with happy mindsets and a positive outlook, especially when my elder one needed the treatment and she could see the mother doing the same exercises. So it was definitely the motherhood.
Yep.
I did not want my daughters to remember me ever as that sad or sorrowful or a room bound, how people used to say, oh, she does not have a bladder and bowel control. She's going to die in a room in her own urine and feces. And that's not the kind of the mother I wanted my children to look up to. So that was one. Two, the purpose behind the journey was very strong, because I did not want to be known as Deepa, who was lucky because her husband was still keeping her and married to her. I did not want people to remember me as a dependent or somebody who will be looked after for the rest of her life. And another question that came to me, if I am an educated woman coming from fairly good financial background and from an urban setup, if I am facing these stereotypes, if this is how I am being perceived by the society of people who are equally educated, then what is happening in rural India?
Yeah.
What is happening in the families which are not so lucky to have this kind of education and financial setup? So it was a call for change, and that really drove me.
And you talk about wanting to sort of rewrite that narrative to be that role model for not only your family, but for so many others too. And my goodness, you did that, particularly in Rio in 2016, quite aside from all those other achievements. Talk to me about the build-up to Rio in 2016.
When I started playing, I thought every time I'll win a medal, my voice will be stronger when I demand policies, when I talk about at par this thing. And today, I know I'm talking more about the challenges, but the audience also needs to know, the world needs to know that today India has the best inclusive sports policy where Paralympic sport and Olympic sport is kept at par. We have the highest cash rewards given by the government, the central government and respective state governments in the entire world.
Yeah, and 111 medals for Team India
Yes.
at the Asia Paralympics, Paragames last year,
Yes.
under your watch. I mean, congratulations.
Yes. Thank you so much. I mean, yes, I think Prime Minister Modi was a great motivator. He said, "Is baar 100 par," which means this time we're going to cross 100. So the cricket-loving nation, where we have cricket almost like a religion, people are in love with 100.
Yeah.
You know, when you hit a century, it's ecstatic. So we decided that even in the Olympic sports and the Paralympic sports, we're going to hit a century. And both of us did. I mean, even the Olympic medals were 107. And I'm very proud to say that the para sports, if I take you through the graph of just the last decade, in 2012, London, 2012, when we came to 2012 in London, we had only one medal. Then we go to Rio, we have 4 medals and 19 people participating, out of which, of course, mine was the first female medal. But under the leadership, and I was given the responsibility, and even during the COVID, it was a tough target. But where only 19 athletes had gone to Rio, we had 19 medals in Tokyo 2020.
Wow.
And when we had only 1 medal of a woman, we had 3 medals won by women athletes. So that's the growth. And if you take about just the Asian Paralympic growth, 2010, we had 14 medals. 2014, we had 33 medals. 2018, we had 72 medals. And in 2022, we had 111 medals. And 40% increase 40% increase in female participation and 40% medals also contributed by female para-athletes. As recent as the World Championship in para-athletics, we beat the titans of sports, and 17 medals were won by the Indian contingent at the para-athletics World Championship, and out of which 6 golds belong to the women. And that's what I'm more proud of, that increase of the women athletes coming on board.
And what's so remarkable, if you don't mind me saying, about everything you've told us so far is about your contribution to further for other people, to make it better for other people, to make society more inclusive, to make it more accepting, to make it more aware. I want to take you back to 2016.
Yes.
And being on that podium,
Yes.
getting your medal in 2016. Did you allow yourself a moment to say, I did this?
For me, 2016 was it was definitely a run-up to winning that big medal, Ben. But a point came where things took a different turn for me. I think Almighty always has a set of challenges, and it inspires me to raise my own bar. I was world number 2 for the javelin throw in F53. And I had already made Asian records twice over, bettering my own distance. Sitting very confident that I will be at 2016 Rio, but just 11 months short of that. And the final list came out for the events. It was not javelin, it was shot put in my disability category. And the whole skill set changed.
Yeah.
I had to change my coach, my training. That is a 600 gram equipment. This turned out to be a heavy iron ball. My diet changed. And everybody was betting on me that this woman is not going to make it. When I qualified at the Doha World Championship, my throw distance was just 3.67 meters. And I was about 9th in the world ranking. But and we ended up getting only 1 female quota as given to us for the NPC India for a woman in athletics. On the final day of selection, I threw a distance of 4.48, which was equivalent to then world ranking 1 in the qualification standard list. I thought tomorrow I'm going to be in the news that, wow, a woman makes it and she's going to be winning. She's achieved this quota allocation and everything, but the newspapers read that I was taken to the High Court by a fellow athlete who refused to believe that I could have increased this kind of a distance. So the Rio Paralympics actually became for me a fight, not just for the medal, but for my integrity, my honesty, my hard work. And having gone through that High Court case for 11 days, just before the participation, and then reaching the Rio Paralympics, there was a lot to prove.
Yeah.
It was not just a medal to be won.
Yeah.
I had to cross the 4.48 mark. And when my second throw happened, it was 4.49. So that was sorted. I had safely secured that. And post that, the 6th throw got me 4.61, and I got that medal. So, yes. And it still is a case study that how a woman at 46 could increase her throw by a meter in 11 months.
Yep.
And a lot of people ask me that, and I think after that, the para-athletes in my country believed that sports science is a very integral part of any sports training.
Yep.
And now we have a beautiful target Olympic podium scheme in our country.
And I want to ask you exactly
Yes.
that. Hopes for Paris? What are the ambitions? What are the hopes for Paris?
Ambitions of Paris are huge because we definitely want to increase the medal tally. You'll be very happy to learn, Ben, that this is the first time India has qualified in blind judo, para-canoeing, para-cycling. These are the new events that I've added.
Yep.
This is the first time we're going to be participating in 12 para sports where we have qualified. So it was 9 last time, and prior to that it was 5. So you see how steeply the graph is going up.
And the momentum.
Momentum is going up, and women participation has gone up. And hopefully, the way I look at it, the way I can study the growth of the para athletes and their preparations, we should target about 25 to 30 medals. Though I'm a little superstitious about giving numbers, but I definitely see them getting there, and I wish them all the very best. But what I'm more proud of is now everybody is looking at us as a strong potential where our talent is being recognized, and everybody looks at us like how I have been hearing, and I'm so proud to be an Indian today here when everybody's calling India a superpower, so many trillion economy, and we are growing in every field. Holistically, we are also growing very fast as a sporting nation. And for example, we recently hosted the World Parachuting World Cup, and the reviews that we have received and the thank you letters said that this was one of the best ever. That means we are ready to host such huge competitions. We are bidding for the World Para Athletics in 2025. So even in the para sports, world level events have started happening.
Could India host the Olympics and the Paras? And what would be a realistic time frame?
Definitely. I mean, India is heading to be the superpower in every field. We are landing on the moon, the first ones on the other side of the moon. So our infrastructure is going. The whole day we have heard such wonderful, how India is growing as a global superpower, financially, infrastructurally, business-wise, technology-wise. And the growth of a nation has to be measured holistically, and sports is one such marker. Recently, I was fortunate to be present in person when the IOC meeting happened at Mumbai in the Neeta Mukesh Ambani Cultural Center. And our Honorable Prime Minister himself was present. And I am really looking forward. And with Olympics being bid, Paralympics follows, because that is an integral part. And this is going to be a huge opportunity for my country to have that complete inclusive infrastructure coming up alongside. It's not going to only impact the growth of para sports, but also create that awareness and inclusion, which is absolutely essential for any country to be called a developed country.
And what a wonderful way for us to leave it this evening. It's been an absolute honor to talk to you. Thank you so much for being with us. Dr. Deepa Malik.
Thank you.